Hello everyone, welcome to Namala Excellence Bangalore. In today's CID series, that is CID series number 10, current affair issues of the day, we are going to cover one important topic from the international relations topic, and this will be usually an evergreen topic whenever you prepare for the mains examination also. So we'll try to discuss this topic from both the exam perspective, friends, and for the coming year also this particular topic is very important, that is string of pearls policy. So before going into this policy details, let's try to understand what is the meaning behind string of policy. So this is a policy which has been exercised by China in the Indian Ocean region. So what they do under the string of pearls policy is that they try to, that is, encircle the India. As we have discussed yesterday also, that while we discussing the India-Maldives relation, we said that China is trying to encircle India through string of pearls policy. So exactly what they will try to do is, so through encircling India, they try to get the information of the movement of Indian Ocean, whatever ships which are passing through the Indian Ocean region, their movements can be tracked, and crucial and sensitive informations can be also tracked, especially related to security, can be tracked under the policy. So what they exactly do under the string of pearls policy is China will try to develop, that is, ports, and these ports will come under two categories. One can be, that is, commercial ports, that is the ports which are especially constructed for doing better trade relationship, and the other thing is strategic ports. So here what China they do is they construct the port in a dual purpose manner, where the ports will not just be used for civilian purposes, that is purely economic activities. In addition to that, most of the times China use these ports as a military base where they will station their submarines and defense equipments, and they will try to monitor the movements of ship in the Indian Ocean region. And this is something which is very sensitive with respect to India, because this development of these strategic ports will affect the maritime security of the Indian Ocean region, and it will have a greater impact on India also. So we will try to discuss that. So this particular policy of string of pearls, where China developing series of commercial ports and strategic ports to track and control the movement of ships in Indian Ocean region, is referred as string of pearls policy. In addition to that, friends, what you should understand is why China is implementing this policy is mainly because this string of pearls policy here, when they develop ports in the Indian Ocean region, we know very well the most of the trade which happens in the Indian Ocean region, they actually happen through the Malacca Strait. That is, if you look at this picture here, it will be even very clear to you. So Malacca Strait is somewhere located near this Malaysian Indonesian region. So between Malaysia and Indonesia, Malacca Strait is located. And what is the most important thing about the Malacca Strait is it is a very narrow passage which is located between Malaysia and Indonesia. Within this narrow strip, world's most of the crucial trade reserves, that is trade activities, happen through the region, and most of the times the world's global oil trade also happens through this region. And any country which is having a dominance in this Malacca Strait, they can choke it in future. Choking means they can block the movement of especially any ship which is traveling through this Malacca Strait. If that happens, means that will endanger the energy security of many countries, because the oil which is traded now in this Indian Ocean region, majority of them, they happens to go through this Malacca Strait. So it is going to be very crucial, and China is making its presence dominant not only in the Malacca Strait, also in the South China Sea, because in South China Sea, China has constructed in Spratly and Parcel. So these are the two islands which China has constructed in the South China Sea, and it has also dispute with many countries such as Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia, who also claim the parts of these partly parcel islands which are located in the South China Sea. So already China is having its dominant presence in the South China Sea, and it is trying to dominate the Malacca Strait which is located between this Malaysian and Indonesian region. And in addition to that, China is now trying to make its presence very strong. Not only in these regions, it is also trying to cover especially In case of Bangladesh, they have constructed something called as Chittagong port. And in addition, if you see, that is Myanmar's recently, the update is near to Myanmar, there is a Cocos Island, which is exactly located near to Andaman Islands. So here, north of Andaman Islands, these Cocos Islands are located. And now China is trying to develop here also as part of its string of pearls policy. In addition to that, in Sri Lanka, we have Hambantota. And if you go to Africa, we have DJ Booty. So here also China has already constructed a series of, that is military cum civilian facilities where ports are constructed, and here various naval equipments, that is defense equipment, submarine ship has been stationed. So it is going to create a huge especially impact on India. So we'll try to discuss what impact it exactly has on India's relationship or India's security concerns, what it will have on the impact on India, the string of policies impact on India. Friends, here we need to understand some major important things. The first most important thing, the dominant presence of China, that is by constructing various ports in the Indian Ocean region, starting from Spratly Parcel Islands in the South China Sea, and then in Bangladesh they have Chittagong port, and in Myanmar they have Cocos Island, which is located near Andaman and Nicobar Islands, and in Sri Lanka Hambantota port, and in Pakistan as part of CPEC corridor. This we would have studied in the India-Pakistan relations and as part of One Road, One Belt initiative also. So where they are constructing China-Pakistan economic corridor, and that extension is connected up to Gwadar port. You know very well, the CPEC corridor also passes through the India's POK region, and where we are already having some disputes with Pakistan and China on this front. Now coming here, so after constructing this series of, that is a policy of encircling India continuously in the Indian Ocean region, it is first creating an impact on our maritime security. So this is one thing India is very seriously concerned, because we wanted our trade to be happening in the Indian Ocean region without any disturbance or without any blockage. And there are various points in Indian Ocean region, starting from Malacca Strait to the Strait of Hormuz, that is somewhere located near here. So from this full extension, even extending up to the regions of East Africa, up to DJ Booty, any points where choking can happen or dominance presence of Chinese activities in Indian Ocean region can disturb the India's maritime security. This is what India is mostly concerned about. Second thing what they are saying is that various scholars are also saying it will affect our global, that is global or India's, mainly it will impact the Indian economy. When it comes to global economy, because here most of the trade activities, especially the oil trade which happens through the Malacca Strait, if it is blocked by China, it will disturb the global economy. And when it concerns to India, here India to encounter this string of pearls policy of China, we need to actually allot our resources which we would have used for improving the education health of Indians. Now we have to allot extra money to spend on actually, especially to protect our Indian country or Indian region from the threats of Chinese activities in Indian region. Due to that, our economic diversion can happen and our resource might be misutilized. So that is going to affect our Indian economy. And in addition to that, if you see, the impact on India is also this particular area, as we have discussed, it is also the hard point of the geopolitical conflicts. So India needs to be very much concerned when it needs to tackle this also. So India is having various challenges because of this string of pearls policy which is followed by China. Now to tackle this, India is also doing a lot of activities. The famous among them we will try to discuss, because this can be asked in your UPSC examination. Because UPSC has already asked one mains question related to string of pearls policy in the past, friends, and again we can expect some questions on prelims or mains, because recently what happened is that is near to Andaman Nicobar Islands we have Cocos Islands, and this comes under the control of Myanmar, and it is actually located very near to our Andaman Nicobar Islands. In addition to that, China has already constructed in Hambantota This port also it has constructed as part of its string of pearls policy. Now the problem which is concerning India is China is already having its presence in Bangladesh also through its Chittagong port. So the recent update which happened in the very recently this year was that China has now recently acquired some control to develop its facilities, that is dual use facilities. That's what India is concerned about. So what we mean by dual use facilities is that China, when it is constructing its port facility in Cocos Islands, it can be used for both civilian purposes and for military purposes. And the one thing which India is very much bothered about, especially related to this here, is because here China has also proposed to set up, that is a remote sensing ground station. And this will be located in Sri Lanka. But what is something which is concerning India is this remote sensing ground station will have its scanner which will be located in case of Cocos Islands, and this scanner will have coverage where it can track the important areas in the Indian Ocean coastal region. Friends, you know very well, when it comes to the coastal regions of India, we have the most important segment which is present here is, first thing is our ISRO, that is our satellite launching center. Our satellite launching center is also located at Sriharikota. So this is something. And second thing is we also have our missile launch center in Odisha. So both these points can be actually tracked by the Chinese scanners which are located in the Cocos Islands. And what is the problem which is concerning India is not only just the tracking. When India is launching the satellite, sensitive information related to the satellites can be tracked by the scanners which are located in the Cocos Islands, and it will be transferred to the remote sensing ground station which is located in Sri Lanka. And this is something is going to concern India very much. That is why India is very much bothered about the recent Chinese activities in the Indian Ocean region, which is very near to India's borders also. So to tackle this, what India is doing, especially to counter string of pearls policy. Number one is, friends, we are coming up with something called as garland strategy. And this strategy is also referred as counter encirclement strategy. Why counter encirclement means? Because China is trying to encircle India. So we wanted to counter that encirclement. So it is called as counter encirclement strategy. And now what India is doing on its part is, India is trying to make its presence by also constructing ports, various ports which are located already where China has made its presence. We are also trying to develop series of ports near to that. We are trying to develop our understanding, and we are also trying to develop more strategic and defense partnership with those countries in the Indian Ocean region, starting from Indonesia. Because in Indonesia, we have constructed a port called as Salang port. And then in case of Singapore, we have constructed Changi naval base. And then with respect to Myanmar also, India has already constructed Sittwe port. And when it comes to Bangladesh, here India has already constructed Mongla port. And when it comes to Iran, India is constructing Chabahar port. So if you look at here, friends, it's very clear India is trying to also counter the Chinese presence in the Indian Ocean by constructing wherever possible with those countries in the Indian Ocean region where we can make a strategy to counter the garland strategy. If you look at this picture, it will be very clear to you, friends. So this is the policy where India is trying to do. This is referred as India's necklace of diamonds strategy. That is what we say as garland strategy also. So here the main purpose behind this strategy is to counter the Chinese presence. That is what we are trying to do is, as I have discussed already, in case of Indonesia, that is with respect to Indonesia, we have developed the Salang port, and then with respect to Singapore, we have developed the Changi, that is Changi La port, and then with respect to Myanmar Sittwe port, And coming to Iran, we have the Chabahar port. So here, if you see, friends, India is also trying to encircle, especially these countries in the Indian Ocean region, surrounding the China. Not only that, we are also coming up with other areas where we can encircle China, not only in the maritime areas, but also the surrounding territorial land areas, where we are trying to improve our relationship with Central Asian countries. We'll discuss that one by one. So the first strategy we have in tackling the string of pearls policy is the execution of a garland strategy or counter encirclement strategy, where India is also making its presence surrounding the areas where China is dominantly present. So this is one thing India is doing, friends. And second thing, India is also trying to develop a lot of coastal radar networks. Now, the purpose behind coastal radar networks is very important, and where they are set up is going to be important, because now what we do in coastal radar network is we will try to, the same manner what China is doing, here we will try to record, that is the images and then videos and then the location of the ships in Indian Ocean region. This can be actually recorded live recording can also be done, and monitoring can be done, and that information will be transferred to especially India, and this will be very useful for Indians, because these coastal radar networks will give an idea what China is doing in Indian Ocean region. So through this coastal radar network, India has now approached Bangladesh. Countries like Bangladesh has been approached, Sri Lanka, and then Maldives, Mauritius. So we are trying to develop this coastal radar network with various these countries, where we have installed our equipments, and these equipments will continuously monitor the movement of Chinese ships in the Indian Ocean region. And if any suspicious or anonymous activity, that will be collected, the information will be collected, and India will be alerted. So this is something India is doing very seriously. Now, what are the other things we are also doing is that we are trying to develop, that is with respect to like-minded countries. Many countries who are having this same idea, where they wanted to protect the movement of ships, sea lanes of communication in Indian Ocean region. To do that, especially there is already a grouping called as Quad, and India is trying to work very closely with Quad, because India is already a member of Quad organization. That is, the other countries who are part of Quad are India, USA, Japan, and then Australia. So here what India is trying to do is, India is also trying to conduct a lot of maritime joint exercises in the Indian Ocean region, so that it will improve our maritime capabilities also to counter China in Indian Ocean region. Here our Indian Army is doing joint exercises that will increase the awareness of Indian Navy also. So this is something India is doing. In addition to that, India is also doing exercising a policy called as Act East policy. Friends, before this, India was having a policy called as Look East policy, but now we have shifted to Act East. And when it comes to Act East policy, we are really concerned about two things. One is to improve our economic relationship, and second is to improve our strategic relationship. So to do both of this, we need better protection of the ships movements in the Indian Ocean region. And to do that, we are actually in the Act East policy, we are also planning to improve our relationship with the Southeast Asian countries which are located to the east of India. So Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, all these countries will be given maximum attention under the Act East policy, where more trade activities will be promoted between the northeastern region with the Southeast Asian countries. So what many experts are saying is that the Act East policy will also help in the development of northeastern areas. That is something India is very bothered about, and we plan it to do with the help of Act East policy. Not only that, India is also improving its relationship, especially with countries in Indo-Pacific. We call those countries as Maldives, Mauritius, and even up to the regions of east of Africa. We are now trying to concentrate under the Act East policy. So by developing our policy economically and strategically, we can counter the Chinese activities in the Indian Ocean region. So this is something India is doing. In addition to that, India is also doing some additional activities. That is, we are trying to develop strategically and strategic and naval capabilities. We are trying to improve. For that, what is most important is bilateral cooperation, because all the times we cannot go and talk with the groupings also. So sometimes we need to look for bilateral relationships to be improved so that the country can partner with India. Especially where we are doing this is in case of Myanmar. So India is trying to train the Myanmar army. So by training them, now what we can do is it will give an opportunity for India to protect the security of the Indian Ocean region. So this is something to increase our footprint in Indian Ocean region. India is doing consciously, and beyond all that, India is also trying to make its presence very strongly in the Central Asian region. The reason being that we know very well, if you look at the image, it's very clear here. Because India is not just concerned about countering, the Garland strategy is not concerned about only making presence in Indian Ocean region. It's also about making our presence in surrounding the China's, especially land areas. So we are trying to lock them even in the lands also. And to do that, we need the cooperation of Central Asian countries. So what we are doing is, we are getting the help of various Central Asian countries like Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and then Uzbekistan. Then we have Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan. So with these countries, India is trying to develop. In addition to that, we are also trying to improve our relationship with Mongolia also, so that countries which are bordering China, we try to develop a very good relationship, not just a normal economic relationship. We are trying to have a deeper strategic and defense relationship with those countries. So with the help of these countries, India feels that its necklace of diamond strategy will help in countering the Chinese string of pearls policy in Indian Ocean region. So in spite of all this, India is having a lot of challenges also. So in the coming days, what India should do to counter or to tackle the Chinese activities, it is that we need to work on the various challenges. That is, what can be the way forward, what India should do in the coming days, so that the dominance of China in the Indian Ocean region should not disturb its other trade activities and security interests. This is something India is doing. So first, what we should do is, India should try to improve its defense and naval capabilities. Because we know very well India's naval capabilities is comparatively much lesser when we compare it to the Chinese naval activities. They have lot of submarines and ports where they have invested lot of money. Compared to that, India is spending very less money to improve our naval facilities like submarines. So we need to procure lot of submarines, and to ensure the freedom of navigation, India needs to improve the naval capabilities. Second, what India should also do, that India should also try to economically invest in other countries. So we have to improve our economic investment in the neighboring countries. But what is the challenge we are getting is, China on its part, it is sitting with lot of surplus capital, and it actually gives lot of money as loan to these countries. Compared to that, India's way of engagement and the loan we sanction or help these countries is very low or less. So we need to work on this front also, because that will improve the goodwill among the relationship among these countries, where they will help us in case of any security and strategic interest. And the most important thing after the improving the naval and economic investment is also to improve our economic, economic status. So India, if you see globally now, we are the 5th largest economy of the world, but we need to make sure that our GDP improves to such a situation where we should be, our model of growth should be compared as an inspiration for the other countries to overcome the China's debt trap diplomacy. So this we have discussed already. Friends, those of you who have missed the concept of debt trap or debt trap diplomacy, watch our video on Indo-Maldives relations, which is available in our playlist as well as in the live section. You can watch that. So with the help of China's debt trap diplomacy, many countries landed into problem only. So to tackle that only, India is coming out with series of grants and line of credit for Maldives also. So we have to improve our economic status, defense capabilities, bilateral relationships with all the countries which are located in the Indian Ocean region, so that any kind of threats which arises from the Chinese presence in the Indian Ocean region can be monitored in a better manner. So I hope, friends, this video was very useful to you. So in case if you want us to make any video on any particular topic, kindly comment on that. Already we are in line to make a video on India-Sri Lankan relation very soon. So if any further topic if you want us to do, kindly leave your feedback in the comment section. Thanks friends, and thanks for watching.